Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Alex. In this class, we're going to learn some vocabulary related to law and order. So by the end of this class, you should be more familiar with different types of crime, word families related to crime, and words related to the criminal justice system. During the class, there will be some questions for you to answer, and these will appear below the video. I will tell you when you need to answer a question, and I'll give you some time to do so. Let's get started. Look at this woman. What is she doing? She is in from a shop. Look at the first question below this video and complete the missing word from this sentence. Type your answer now. This woman is stealing from a shop. Stealing is a... What word could we use to complete this sentence? Look at the next question below the video and type one word to complete sentence 2. Stealing is a crime. So, if this is a crime, the woman is a... What word can we use to describe the woman here? Look at the next question and type one word to complete sentence 3. A person who commits a crime is a criminal. Let's look more closely now at some different types of crimes. Here we have some different types of crime. Burglary, manslaughter, assault, vandalism, robbery, theft. We are going to try to match these types of crime to descriptions of the crime. Look at number 1. Unintentionally causing someone's death. Which crime matches this description? Look at the next question below the video and choose the correct letter A to F. The correct answer here is B, manslaughter. Unintentionally means by accident. We did not mean to do this thing, but we caused someone's death accidentally. For example, maybe a person driving a car fell asleep and the car hit another car, killing a person. This would be manslaughter. Look at number 2. Deliberately damaging someone's property. What crime is this? Look at the next question and choose the correct letter. This crime is called vandalism. D, vandalism. Vandalism could be writing or drawing on someone's private property or on public property. We sometimes see graffiti, which is a type of art or drawing, on walls in cities. This is vandalism. Deliberately is the opposite of unintentionally. If we do something deliberately, we mean to do this thing. Stealing in general What type of crime describes stealing in general? Look at the next question and choose the correct letter. The answer here is F, theft. A, burglary, and E, robbery, are both types of stealing. But when we talk about stealing in general, we use the word theft. Causing physical harm or unwanted contact to a person's body. Look at the next question and choose the correct type of crime. This crime is called assault. Assault can be many different things, from just touching somebody who does not want to be touched, or pushing, or even hitting and physical violence against somebody. Stealing something from a property. Look at the next question and choose the correct type of crime. For this crime, we use the word burglary. Burglary means to steal something from someone's property. It might be their house, or it might be the property of a business. When a burglary happens, the person who owns the house or the business is not there. The person who tries to steal the things deliberately goes at a time when the person is not there. Number 6, stealing something by force or using fear. This is called robbery. Robbery can happen on the street. For example, a person could threaten you with a knife and steal your bag and your wallet. This is called mugging. M-U-G-G-I-N-G. Robbery could also happen, for example, at a bank. A person could use force or maybe even a gun, go into the bank and steal things from the bank. Notice that when a robbery happens, the person is present. The victim is present. In a burglary, the victim is not present at the property when the crime happens. Before all of these types of crime, we usually use the verb commit. Commit burglary, commit manslaughter, commit assault, and so on. Now let's think about other forms of these words. Here are the crimes that we looked at on the previous page. One of these crimes can also be used as a verb. We don't need to change the spelling or the form of the word, and we don't need to change the pronunciation. Which of these nouns can also be used as a verb? Look at the next question below the video and type the correct answer. The answer is assault. Assault can be a noun. He committed assault, or it can be a verb, but we must use an object after the verb. He assaulted someone. Remember, before all of these nouns, we can use the verb commit. But using the verb commit sounds very formal. For example, he committed a burglary at a house. It sounds very formal. To make it sound less formal, we can change some of these nouns into verbs with objects after them. For example, he burgled a house. To burgle is the verb form of burglary. We can also use a different form of the noun to describe the person who does the crime. In this case, a person who burgles a house is a burglar. She committed vandalism on someone's car. Sounds very formal. We can use the verb instead. She vandalized someone's car. Remember, we need an object after the verb. She is a vandal. This noun describes the person who committed the crime. There was a robbery at the local bank. He robbed a bank. To rob is the verb form of robbery, and we need a noun afterwards. He robbed a bank. The noun to describe the person who did the crime is a robber. We could also say a bank robber. Bank robber is a strong collocation. Remember, when a robbery happens, the victims are in the bank or in the place. But a burglary happens when the victim is not at home or not in the place. There were lots of thefts at the company. This noun theft, we do have a verb which is to thieve, but it is not used very often. It is much more common to use the verb steal. They stole a lot of money. £12 million was stolen is the past participle, and don't steal is the infinitive. The first one is the past simple verb. So we usually use the verb steal instead of the verb thieve. However, to describe the person who steals something, we can use the noun a thief or thieves if it is more than one person. The last noun, manslaughter, does not have a verb and does not have a noun to describe the person. So for this crime, we use the verb commit. Commit manslaughter. Okay, let's practice using all of this vocabulary together. Here are some of the words we have looked at on the previous pages. There are different crimes and different forms of the words. We're going to use these words to complete some sentences. Here are the sentences. I'd like you to read all of the sentences now and to think what word and form of the word might you need to complete each sentence. You have 30 seconds now to read the different sentences. Okay, let's look at number one. Graffiti on walls, smashed windows. There's a lot of in this area of town. Which word from these choices can complete sentence number one? Look at the next question and type the correct word. The correct word here is vandalism. Remember, graffiti on property is vandalism, and here we need the general noun. Look at number two. He is in prison for car because he stole over 100 cars in a year. Look at the next question and type the correct word to complete this sentence. We need a noun in this space, and the correct word for stealing in general is theft. He is in prison for car theft, stealing cars. Number 3, bank decreased after many banks closed branches due to online banking. Look at the next question and write the correct word to complete this sentence. Well, we need a noun in this gap, and the correct noun is bank robberies. We're not talking about decreasing robbers. We can't increase or decrease a robber. This is a person. But we can increase or decrease the number of robberies. Number 4, of a police officer is a serious crime in many countries. Look at the next question and write the correct word to complete sentence 4. Assault of a police officer is a serious crime in many countries. Touching, pushing, hitting, or any violence towards a police officer is a very serious crime. Number 5, our house was last year, so we installed an alarm system. Look at the next question and type the correct word to complete this sentence. This sentence needs a verb form. So the correct answer is our house was burgled last year. Okay, let's move on now and talk about the criminal justice system. Look at these 3 pictures. They show people involved in the criminal justice system. Which of these people arrests people? Is it person A, person B, or person C? Look at the next question below the video and choose the correct letter, A, B, or C. Person B arrests people. Police officers arrest people. Who commits crimes? Is it person A, B, or C? Look at the next question and choose the correct letter. Person A commits crimes. Person A is a criminal or an offender. Who convicts people? This is person C. Person C is a judge or a magistrate. This person works in a court, and this person manages the process of convicting criminals, of saying to criminals that they are guilty of the crime and giving them a punishment. Let's look at the process of the criminal justice system in more detail now. I'm going to show you some stages in the criminal justice system. Of course, the justice system is different for different crimes and in different countries. But in most English-speaking countries, the stages I will show you are true. Here are the stages. Police charge the suspect with the crime or release him/her. Police investigate a crime by speaking to witnesses and looking for evidence. Police interrogate the suspect. Police arrest a suspect. The case goes to court. The police give the crime a case number. I would like you to put these stages into the correct order that they normally happen in the criminal justice system. Look at the next question below this video and type the letters A to F in the correct order. The correct order here is B, D, C, A, F, E. Let's look at these in the correct order. First of all, police need to investigate a crime. When police investigate, they look for evidence. They look for information which suggests who did the crime. They are looking for a suspect. A suspect is a person that the police think did the crime. To help investigate, the police will speak to witnesses. Witnesses are people who saw the crime happen. And of course, the police look for evidence. They need facts and information which suggest and make the police believe that the suspect committed the crime. When the police are confident, they will arrest the suspect. This means they take the suspect to the police station, they take the personal details of the suspect, and they take the fingerprints of the suspect. Of course, the police will continue to investigate after they arrest the suspect. Then the police will interrogate the suspect. This means the police will ask the suspect a lot of questions. Usually the suspect will have a lawyer present during these questions, and the answers that the suspect gives can be used as evidence by the police. If the police believe they have enough evidence, they will formally charge the suspect with the crime. This means the police will formally say, "We think that you did the crime." The suspect at this point becomes a defendant. Or another word for a defendant is the accused. We will see these words later in the presentation. After charging the suspect with a crime, the police give the crime a number. This is called a case number. Finally, the case will go to a court, and it's in the court where the judge will manage the process of finding out if the defendant is guilty or not. Let's learn a little bit more about some vocabulary related to courts. We're going to read a newspaper article and we'll answer some questions. Let's read together. Alfred Smith, 39, was on trial today, accused of burglary and vandalism of over 10 properties in the past year, all of which occurred while the owners were on holiday. In opening statements, the prosecution argued that the defendant followed social media accounts to see when the owners were abroad and then broke into their properties to steal valuables worth over £500,000 in total. The defense argued that Mr. Smith did not possess enough technical knowledge to disable the property's alarm systems, as the prosecution suggested, and that he is innocent of the crimes. If the jury thinks differently and finds Mr. Smith guilty, he could be sentenced up to a maximum of 20 years in prison. The trial continues. Look at the next question below the video. What is the name of the defendant on trial? Type your answer now. The defendant in this case is Alfred Smith. Remember, defendant is a word we use to describe the person who is on trial, the person who the police have charged with the crime. Another word for the defendant is the accused. Look at the next question below the video. What is one of the things that the police believe the defendant did? What crimes do the police believe the defendant committed? Type your answer now. Alfred Smith is accused of burglary and vandalism. So burglary or vandalism were the correct answers. If someone is accused of something, it means the police have said you did this crime. We think you committed the crime. That is to accuse someone of something. Look at the next question below the video. Who is arguing the case for Alfred Smith, the defendant? Who is arguing the case for Alfred? Type your answer now. The defense are arguing for Alfred. The defense means the lawyer or the group of lawyers who are arguing for the defendant, Mr. Smith. They are arguing that he did not commit the crime. We can also use the verb to defend someone. The lawyers are defending Alfred Smith. Look at the next question. Who is arguing the case for the police? Type your answer now. The prosecution are arguing for the police. The prosecution is the opposite of the defense. The prosecution is a lawyer or a group of lawyers who argue that the person did commit the crime. They agree with the police. We can also use this as a verb, and the verb is to prosecute someone. The police prosecuted the defendant. Look at the next question below the video. What is the name for the 12 members of the public who decide if Alfred committed the crime or not. Type your answer now. This is the jury. The jury is a group of men and women, usually 12, who decide if the defendant committed the crime or not. If they think the defendant did not commit the crime, they will find the defendant innocent. This means the defendant will be released. If they think the defendant did commit the crime, they will find him guilty, and the defendant will then be punished in some way. Look at the next question below the video. What is the maximum prison sentence that the judge could give to this defendant? Type your answer now. The answer is 20 years in prison. The judge is the person who sentences the criminal. To sentence someone means to say what punishment they must do. For example, they might go to prison, or they might need to pay a fine. The jury is the group of people who decide if they are guilty or innocent, but the judge is the person who sentences the defendant, who chooses the punishment. Of course, in other countries and cultures, there might not be a jury. There might only be a judge. We can also use sentence as a noun. The judge gave a sentence of 20 years in prison. The final word here is on trial. When a defendant goes to court, this is called a trial. So we can say that the defendant is on trial. Okay, let's practice all of this vocabulary related to the justice system. I'm going to show some sentences, and you need to complete the sentences using the words here. Accused, prosecution, sentence, jury, defendant, innocent, guilty. Look at sentence number 1. If a person is found in a court case, they are free to go. Look at the next question below the video and choose the correct letter to finish sentence number 1. The answer here is innocent. You are free to go if you did not commit the crime. So you are innocent of the crime. Number 2, the has been of manslaughter. The trial continues. Look at the next question below the video and type the 2 correct words from the choices here. Type them in the correct order. 2A first, 2B second, and leave a gap between the 2 words. The best answer here is the defendant has been accused of manslaughter. Remember, another word for the defendant is the accused. So we could say the accused has been accused of manslaughter. But in English, we don't normally like to use the same word close together twice in a sentence. So the defendant has been accused is much better in this situation. If found the man faces a prison of at least 15 years. Look at question 3a. Which word can complete space 3a? Look at the next question and choose the correct letter. Well, if the man is being punished by prison, then the man must be guilty. If found guilty, he will be punished. He will face a prison of at least 15 years. Look at the next question and choose the correct letter for space 3b. If he is guilty, he will be given a sentence, a prison sentence. Remember, it's the judge who decides the punishment. So the judge will give the sentence to the defendant. Number 4, the of 12 men and women disagreed with the arguments of the and found the defendant innocent. Look at space 4a. Which word can complete this space? Look at the next question and choose the correct letter. The word for the group of men and women who decide if a person is guilty or innocent is the jury. In this case, the jury found the defendant innocent. So they disagreed with the arguments of the... Look at the last question below the video and choose the correct letter to complete sentence number 4. The answer here is prosecution. Remember, the prosecution is the group of lawyers who argue the case for the police. In this case, the defendant was found innocent, so the jury disagreed with the police and the prosecution. That is the end of the class. Hopefully now you have a wider range of language you can use to describe different types of crimes using both verbs and nouns, and to describe what happens in the criminal justice system. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.